Hello everybody, it's Jeanette from Thermo Groovers. Welcome to Friday the 13th. It's March, Friday the 13th, and it's Friday Night Live, Drinks at the Sink. So I hope you can join me. Who's going to be on tonight? Let's see who's going to jump in first. Now, if you're joining for the very first time, welcome to you as well. It's always lovely to see new people following along, and often I don't know if you're following along unless you make a comment. Now, if you're not open to making a comment, not confident, or whether you've got nothing to say, you can be a stalker and not a talker. Hello, Vicky. Nice to see you joining. And Victoria. Now, Victoria, I've heard that you and two others are doing some secret squirrel business together. I love the idea of that. Can't wait to hear about the conversations in that chat. Hello there, Rosalie. Thanks for your lovely message the other day. I'm doing really well, and I have been meaning to get back to you. Hi, Angie and Sally. Nice to see you. I hope you got on all right with Josie, Sally, with the phone call for the apron. This is the apron that I wore a couple of weeks ago. I just so happen to have a dress to match. Anyway, Sally was asking for the lady's name that sews them so that she can get one for herself. Hello, Crystal. Nice to see you. And Yvonne and Marie and Sue. Welcome, welcome. All right, what are we having tonight? I am going to make a cocktail. I'm just going to have a mimosa tonight, but I'm going to make the orange juice. And the orange juice is going to have a little bit of mango in it and a little bit of lemon in it, right? Debbie, the cake. I've only got 2 pieces left of that cake that I made last night. Hello, Louise. Nice to see you joining. Do you know today, Louise, you'll love this because I turned into a thermo groomer today. I had to go and groom the cockatiel, the cockatiel. The cockatiel. How can you groom a cockatiel? I meant the cocker spaniel. Goodness me. My brain and my mouth are not in sync at the moment. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, hi Lynn, nice to see you joining, and Charmaine. Daylight savings is over soon, and then you're on the same time. Yay! Hi Donna, good to see you too, and Angela. All right, I'm just going to get, I've got my ice here. I had a bottle of Moscato in the fridge that's opened. It's got one of these magic little stoppers on top. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to see if it's bubbly enough. Let's see. Whoa! Jesus, sound like a shotgun. I think it's bubbly enough. It's definitely bubbly enough, right? Diane, that cake, I'm going to get it out of the fridge. I've got 2 pieces left. I'll show you. We need that drink to sink. Absolutely, Veronica. I could drink this like cordial. I've sort of went off Moscato for a long, long time, but if anyone gives me a glass of it now, I just sink it like a drink of lemonade. Yes, Sue. Brown Brothers. Delicious Moscato. All right, let's make a cocktail, and then I'll tell you what I'm making. Now, I was just saying before everyone jumped on, if you're following along and you can see a busy thread in the comments, it's because this page is super interactive. And everybody sort of interacts with everybody, so it's a great community vibe, right? I love the vibe that we've got here. Hello, Helen. Nice to see you joining too. Leftover wine? You've never heard of such thing. Yes. Hi, Jan. Good to see you on as well. Well, I've been refraining from drinking because, you know, trying to get myself all shipshape, ready to have the next piece of the puzzle put together, right? What do I have to get? I don't have to get anything. I just need to get moving, right? Hello, Lee. No, you would know that. It's not a thing at all. All right, what have I got? I'm making a mimosa. So typically you would put orange juice with champagne, and that's a mimosa. I don't know why they call it mimosa. Anyway, so tonight I've got mango, and I've got 1 whole orange, frozen mango, 1 whole orange, and a frozen lemon. Now, I'm not going to put the lemon, who am I kidding? I am going to put the lemon in because the mango's sweet and the Moscato's sweet, and I don't like drinks that are way too sweet. So this is what I'm doing. Jennifer, you thought the cake was for the freezer. Well, I took it up to Amy and Jake's today, and there was like this tiny little section left after they had some. I'll make the cocktail and then I'll get the cake out, okay? Hello there, Karen. Nice to see you joining too. I hope you're feeling better. All right. Let's put the ingredients in. I will weigh them for you so then you can replicate the same recipe as what we call it. So we've got, 23 grams of lemon. We have, let's put this in here, we have 60 grams of frozen mango, and then I've got 1 whole orange. So let's see how much that weighs. There we go. So that is 185 grams. So if there's anyone out there that likes a bit of admin, can you please write this down and then pop it in the thread for everybody once I finish it. Now we need to put some ice cubes in there because the ice cube breaks down the fibre of the fruit. All right. So let me just get some ice cubes out, and I will put in, right, yeah, that's about right, 97 grams precisely. All right, where's the measuring cup? Where's that gone to? Oh, I've got to get another one out because I just cleaned my bowl ready to make the yogurt. All right, so let's turn this up to speed 10. Right, and we'll put a little bit of water in there. Ooh, it's very loud. And then I'll put some ice in the glass. Right. There we go. You might want to turn the volume down while we're doing this. Put a little bit of ice water in there. A little bit, right, 10 grams or so. And then I'll get the cake. Oh, where's the cake? Has it got eaten already? No, it has not. Rightio, here we go. So that's been on for, that's 50 seconds, which is a long time when you're listening to it. Right, this is the cake that's left over. 2 pieces, that's it. Right, and it actually goes quite firm once it's been in the fridge. So like I said in my reel last night, you might want to microwave it. So there we have it, right? There's the nice big pieces of apple, right? And the darkness is clearly that caramel syrup in there. So that's it. Now that's supposed to go in the freezer. I bet you it doesn't go in the freezer. I bet you we end up eating it and then I won't have any for the freezer. So, but I usually just freeze them in takeaway containers like this. Put the name on top of them. Oh, Rosalie, you just made a pina colada in readiness to sit back and enjoy the live. I love that you're in the drinking spirit on a Friday night. Well done, well done. Good job there, Rosalie. All right, what I've got is, now this is more like a sort of like a runny sorbet or a thick juice, right? Thank you, Sally. Yay, Jazzy, you made it. Woohoo. All right, so what I'm going to do is fill up the glass. So this is like your flavour base. So this will make quite a few drinks, if I'm lucky. And I use my thermo jug. Someone got some of these off the mix shop the other day because apparently they were back in stock, which surprised me. I didn't think they were in stock. All right, so we're going to pour some of this in. So what I would do is pour a little bit in and then just top it up with your bubbles. Right, you could put a bit of vodka in there and soda in there if you wanted to. So we'll just pour that in. And I love this because it reminds me of a spider. You know, the spider drinks that we used to have when we were kids. I don't even know if they do them anymore. Do kids actually have like raspberry spiders or lime spiders like I used to love as a child? All right, I just want to, let's have a little taste. Ha! That's really good. Oh yeah, that's really good. Nice one, Jeanette. It goes nice with the mango, the orange, and the lemon. Cheers to Friday night. Now let me love your jug, especially how it unscrews for cleaning. Absolutely. They're redesigning them. They're bringing out a new one, which is a lot easier to clean. So your buns turned out so good last night. Well done, Beck. Did you get 3, 6, 9? Did you get 12 buns? I'm curious to know how big you did them, right? Oh, I do with creamy soda. Absolutely. It's good, Karen. Mm. Oh my gosh. Oh, so good. So good. I didn't have to put any sugar syrup in it because clearly the Moscato is sweet enough. So this is basically your cordial and this is your water. So bombs away, right? We'll sit that over there and that can, you know, be there for a refill. So cheers to Friday night. You did a little bit smaller side. Awesome. They were a little bit on the smaller side. I think you've got to flatten them a little bit, Beck, when you actually cook them. Instead of leaving them in a ball, if you flatten them so they're more like a disc, you'll get the right shape. Okay? Hello there, Maddie. You haven't made the yogurt in a while, but you're going to give it another go tonight. Brilliant. Now, what do I miss? Maria. Good evening, Jeanette. You missed the start. You tell me what the cocktail is. It is a mimosa. So it's orange. I put a bit of mango in there, a little bit of lemon, and I've just mixed it with some Moscato. And that's tonight's little drink at the sink. Right, we're going to give that a rinse out. And can highly recommend that one. If you want a quick, easy drink to use up what others would not normally have, which is leftover bubbles, you could put wine in it and then put some soda water in it if you wanted to. So that'll work. All right, just giving that a rinse. Now, what are we making tonight? I'm going to make some yogurt, just some Greek yogurt. So I need to heat the milk. So I'll get that on now. And then I'm going to do my sweet and sour recipe, which is typically with pork meatballs. But tonight I'm going to do a little twist. And I'm going to show you something that's super, super easy to do it with just chicken thighs, right? So I haven't done this on my live. It happens in my head and I'm like, oh, have I done that on a live or not? I can't quite remember. What I might do is put the rest of this ice in here and that could just pour straight into my glass. Canadian Club lemon squash tonight. Oh, Steph, that sounds really good. I like the sound of that. You still make spiders for yourself, but not the back of the kids, you think, Crystal. I like that. That's good. When is the new book, Way More Drinks at the Sink, coming out, Helen? I know. I think... now, I have to share something with you. When I went up and stayed on the Gold Coast, I stayed with Bridget. Often you see Bridget post things in the group, in the community page. She made me this cup. Look at this cup. How cute is that? And she's put Thermomix on there for me. How awesome is that? So I sent her a photo this morning. Me having a drink with me. It's so, so cute. And she made me a T-shirt. And it says, let's get wasted. As in like W-H-E-Y. Wasted. I love it. Just a pun. I love a good pun. All right, let's get started. So I'm also doing some sourdough bread. Amy and Jake requested pull apart. So they want Vegemite and cheese pull apart, right? So it's a great idea, isn't it, Maria? You love the cup, Liana. Hasn't she done a good job? She's very clever. She's very artistic. Go, Bridget. Now, my Thermomixes always go to sleep because I always get distracted. If your Thermomix goes to sleep in between when you're playing with it, make sure you put the timer on because it stops it from going to sleep. It's brilliant. Ah, yes, Bridget. Hello to you. I just showed everyone the cup. So the timers are on so it doesn't go to sleep if I talk too much. So what I'm going to do to start with is heat the milk. Now I'm going to do that in the TM6 bowl because I want to use the browning function on TM7. So this is the bowl that's just had a vinegar wash and I'm just going to put the milk in. So this is fresh milk, good quality fresh milk, right? So if you're not making yogurt yet, this recipe is what my book is all about. Coconut yogurt, vanilla yogurt, Greek yogurt, making it you can do it in a 31, but you need an incubator. You can do it in the 5, you can do it in the 6, and you can do it in the 7, right? Oh, thank you so much, Debbie. Do you know what? They asked us at the leadership conference, what is your purpose? And I'm like, oh, well, clearly, what is your why? What's your purpose? My purpose is to bring joy into people's lives through making things easier in the kitchen. There's less stress and more fun. That's what I love about the Thermomix. It certainly does that. And when I can come from my kitchen to yours or into your lounge room, on your big screen, on your phone, on your tablet, no matter where you are, whether you watch a recording or whether you're watching live, it's all about having fun and enjoying each other's company, using the Thermomix as much as we can, because we like to make it pay for itself over and over and over again. Let me just get the milk powder and put that in. I haven't pre-weighed anything before, not with this anyway. I could probably do this with my eyes closed. There we go. And we'll just put that onto heat. So this one's going to be Greek. So we'll just put that on for a bit. Put the temp on. So denaturing the milk clearly makes a difference with how yogurt turns out. If you don't denature the milk, it doesn't work because it doesn't change the proteins. And sometimes with UHT milk, I still like to heat it because sometimes it's hit and miss and I don't like to waste ingredients. And so sometimes I'll actually heat the UHT milk as well. What have I missed? Thank you, Bridget. Oh yeah, the bead in the jar, Helen. You guys are on to me. Okay, so let's put another bead in. There we go. So that's the counter for 2026. Done, right? Yes, we measure with our heart, absolutely. Thank you so much, Victoria. I really, I love it when you guys enjoy watching and learning. It's all about the learning as well. We're not just here to get wasted or waste your time, right? Gail, you're late. I bet you've been hanging out with the caramel yogurt. All right, let's brown some chicken. So sweet and sour meatballs, it's on page 69 out of Way More for Your Family. Now, normally I do meatballs with this. Tonight I'm doing chicken, right? So I'm hopefully going to have some leftovers to put in the freezer. So hang with me. Sally, you always heat the UHT milk. Good. Excellent. I'm pleased that you do that because it just covers any inconsistency with the milk. And if you've got time to let it cool down, it's worth doing, right? Yes, you can use chicken breasts as you don't like thighs, especially yours. Yes, Yvonne, you can use chicken breasts if you want to do that with this recipe. So let me take you through what I'm doing. It is, Debbie, the drink is a mimosa. 1 whole orange, lemon, mango, and Moscato, and some ice. That was it. Someone will probably write down the measurements and the speed. It was like 50 seconds speed, 10. Okay, we're going to brown up some chicken. Now, I've got quite a lot of chicken here. Now, sometimes you would probably think to do that in 2 batches. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to do it in 1. So in the TM7, we can select just browning function without any limitations on weight, right? There's a certain amount that you have to have in the bowl, but there's no maximum that you can have in the bowl. So I love this. I love that I can just press it as I would use the kneading function or the turbo function. And so what we're going to do is just saute the chicken. So I'm going to put a little bit of oil in there, right? And I will put a little bit of salt and pepper. And all I'm going to do, I've got 4 modes. No, I haven't. I've got 8. I've got 8 modes on my home screen. So these are all my handy little tools that I like to have on the home screen. I'll tell you what I've got. I have manual mode and Varoma, which is steaming mode, side by side, because I use those a lot. Then I've got browning, then I have egg boiler, then I have dough, I have my recipes, turbo, and then I have fermentation. So they're my favourites that I have on my home screen. And then when I pull down the cook centre, we've got the timer, we've got the scales, and we've got the pre-clean. So you don't need to have them on your home screen. I really like having my handy tools on the home screen. It's great. Now, what have I missed there? Howdy, Joe. Nice to see you joining. All right, I'm just going to select browning function. And I'm just going to put the chicken in. So I've just cut these thigh fillets into larger size pieces because they will shrink. Thigh fillets generally shrink once all the moisture comes out of them. Now this is going to be same deal as baking it in the oven, which I need to turn on actually. Right, we'll turn that on. There we go. Get that cranked up. So we'll put the chicken in and we'll just cook this off. Now I'm going to keep the liquid of this chicken, and the liquid from the chicken is going to make up the water that's in the sweet and sour sauce recipe. Okay, so take a note of that. Yes, you can do it on the 6 as well, Joe. So you can still put in extra amount. That's perfectly fine. So what you would look for, if you look underneath, Joe, have you got my first cookbook? Because there's Mum's Curry Chicken Pies in there, and this is how I saute the chicken off in that recipe. So it's exactly the same. So if I'm kind of losing you a little bit, reference this recipe with how to saute the chicken. Okay, Mum's Curry Chicken Pies, out of way more than a yogurt recipe. All right, we're going to pop this in here. I didn't weigh it. I'd say there's probably about 700 grams of chicken there. All right. And then I'm going to use the intense option, which you can use on the 7. Doesn't have that on the 6. Just follow the sauteed chicken steps out of the recipe. I'm going to put it on 15 minutes. Right. This can now go into the dishwasher. There we go. Take that away. So that's going to sort it off. I need to put some salt and pepper in there. Hello there, Sue. Nice to see you. What's on the floor? That is a toy. That's the dog's toy. They usually put a toy at my feet when I'm cooking in the kitchen. Hello there, Sue. Nice to see you joining. You're cooking for your husband. Now, what's that say there? Let me just go see more. Sometimes I can't see it. And you're cooking the apple shortbread. Oh, yes, you're making the third one. Then on to 3 pabs. Oh, my goodness me. You're busy. I'm so pleased you're making the apple shortbread slice. That's my nan's recipe. Bless her, Mary. All right, we're just going to put a bit of salt and pepper in here. All right, just to season it a little bit. Because we're not doing the meatballs with the pork mince, we're just doing chicken pieces. Now you can get a bachelor's handbag and do the same thing with a cooked chook if you want to. So all you have to do is make the sauce. So as long as you've got a tin of pineapple pieces, now it's very important that it's the pineapple pieces in syrup, not in juice. You need the sweetness for this recipe. So if you've got the pineapple pieces in juice, don't use it. You have to get the syrup one, right? Hello there, Judith. Nice to see you joining. Hello, Gillian. Nice to see you as well in the far west. All right, so that's already started. It's starting to get hot now. All right, now moving on, I've got, let me have a little drink here. Today, if any of you noted on my page, I shared what was announced today from Vorwerk. And we found out 1 o'clock this afternoon, my time, that we are now offering a Thermomix, a TM7, with a bundle offer of an extra bowl for $199. Blew my mind. I didn't see it coming. I thought that offer was going to come later in the year. And so, yeah, bachelor's handbag dollar, that's what they call it. So anyone that wants to buy Thermomix between now and the end of March can add an extra bowl to their order for $199. Mind-blowing. Now, for everyone that has a TM7 and has been waiting for an extra bowl, you will be able to get an extra bowl by hosting a demonstration. Now, for all those people who are connected to me, if you want to host a demonstration, I will be able to do that virtually because I won't be driving for 6 weeks after next Wednesday. So this falls into April. So the 1st of April to the end of April is when we have the extra bowl blade lead as a host reward. And Rhonda, we are booking in April 1st for you. So thank you, Michelle. This is one of my favourite colours. Anne must have known that when she bought me this apron. Yeah. So it is exciting. It is exciting for a lot of people. So yes, those that have already got a TM7, you've been enjoying it without an extra bowl and you've been hanging out for it, but you can get it by hosting, all right? So they are thinking of our customers that have already got TM7s. It won't be available in the big shop yet. That's the dog that's come through the door. Just 1 second. Boom, crash. Rex is in the house. Oh, he's tried to go out the door. How about I leave it open for you, buddy? There you go. Poor old Rexy. It's just taken the doggy door off the hinges. All right. Now, the other thing I wanted to explain was something else I was going to talk to you about. What was it? I can't remember. All right, my milk is nearly at 90 degrees. I'm going to take it off now and make my sourdough bread, and I'll pop the milk back on once I've finished my lime. Now, what is the criteria when hosting to qualify for extra bowl, please? Debbie, you need yourself and 2 other people from different households, and that qualifies you for a host reward. So it's you and 2 guests that qualify. There's 2 different tiers that you can get the discount for. I've posted them on my page. So if you have someone buy your Thermomix demonstration, you get a bigger discount. And so ultimately, you've got friends that are waiting to get a Thermomix, get them to come to your demonstration and buy at your demonstration. That gives you the extra discount, which is awesome, right? I hope that's explained everything for you. Now, if there is a guaranteed sale, you only have to have 1 person at your demo. So if you've got a girlfriend that wants to buy a Thermomix, you're the host, they're the guest purchasing, they buy, you get the tier 2 discount, which is great. Yes, I can do that, Alison. Let's do it. Let's do it. Send me a private message, can you please? Because when I go back through to find the messages in the thread, I find it hard to find them. So send me a little message, please. That would be great. All right, we're going to put on the sourdough bread. Again, I'm thanking my past self for bagging these up. So it doesn't look like it's enough water. Let me take that out and have a look. I'll just run that around. I'm sure I weighed that. It just didn't feel like it was enough. No, it's not. It's only 100 grams. It's got to be more than that. Gee whiz. How did I notice that? You would have thought I'd been oblivious to it, like I was last night putting the wrong ingredients into the wrong bowl. That was fun. Fancy that. I knew that was under. Go, Jeanette. I might not be able to talk properly, but I can soon feel when things are not right. Thanks, Fatima. I love this apron too. Anne gifted this to me, so it was lovely of her. All right, we're going to heat that up. I thought I'd weighed that, but I think I was busy talking to Jim. All right, we'll take that back to room temp and heat that up. All right, the chicken's cooking nicely over here. There's a bit of chicken that didn't end up in the bowl. All right, we've got that going. Now, with the ingredients for the sweet and sour chicken, I am using my Maggie Beer enamel tray, and I'm just going to put extra veggies in here. So tonight I'm putting in cauliflower, which is not in the recipe. It's not listed in the recipe. And I'm just using spring onion, not the wedges of onion. That's the only thing I've done different. So we're going to put a little bit of onion in the bottom. All right, that's a bit of spring onion. And then I'm going to layer some, can you see what I'm doing there? Not really. Let me turn you down here. Thank you, Joanne. I am bright tonight. All right, some carrots. Okay. And then I'll put a little bit of capsicum in. I'm going to layer the chicken on top of this. All right. Oh, there goes a bit. Puppies will get that. No, they won't. There we go. I will get that one. Too late, too late. Snooze, you lose, puppies. Snooze, you lose. All right, that's at 37 degrees. Let's put the yogurt in. All right, there we go. So this is Greek yogurt that I'm using tonight. I'm using up the last of the Greek yogurt. So that's why I'm cooking some more tonight. All right, we'll mix that through a little bit. All right, the chicken is bubbling away. I can hear lots of liquid in the bowl. So when it gets like this, my suggestion is to strain it off and put it back on to brown. All right, so browning mode on the TM6 and the TM7, this is what I often do. I take the liquid out, and so then there's the surface of the bowl that it can actually brown up a bit, because it's never going to brown when you've got liquid in there. So I'll show you what the chicken looks like. Okay, and then, can you see down here? Point you down a little bit. Let me use this spoon do you guys have this spoon? It's actually designed to sit across the bowl like this. So when you pour like this, it holds everything in. I'm not sure if you all knew that, but that's what it's designed to do. There you go, that from Jeanette. I don't even know if that was on the packaging. I'm not sure. All right. Oh, yes, that's starting to look good. Now I'll put it back on. Now your chicken won't cook all the way through, but what we want to do is firm the chicken up and get the liquid out so we don't end up with too much liquid in the sauce recipe. So that's the purpose of cooking it off a little bit first, right? There you go, Debbie. Hang around me. You'll learn a few things or two. It is great, isn't it? I do love this spoon. It's a ripper. It would have been a good whacker in the day. So this is going to go back into the sauce. So we're going to make the sauce in a second. After I finish doing the chicken, right? Now this is ready to go. So we've got the sourdough bread now. Putting the bread flour in, right? Oh, you've got it, Lee, and you haven't used it yet. You go get that out of the box. It's a brilliant spoon. I love it. Kim, you love it as well, and Angie, you do too. I think they're still for sale in the mix shop. I don't know how much they are. Can someone do a little quick... can we have a price check? Price check? Can we have a price check on the spoon? I don't even know what sort of a spoon it is. I think it's called a spoon. I don't know. I don't know what sort of a spoon it is. All right, I don't want to throw that out. In this bag is the flour, pre-weighed flour, salt and bread improver, right? It just makes life so much easier when you've got them pre-weighed, especially if you're making bread all the time. Right, we'll need this off now. There we go. Put this one in the dishwasher. I'll just give it a little rinse on. Can't stand the smell of yogurt in the dishwasher. It sounds like someone spewed in it. There we go. That's all done. All right. So we're going to put the chicken on top of all of these ingredients, and then we're going to put it in. Ah, yes, Victoria. Price check on aisle 3. Thanks, Donna. Price check. Do they even do that anymore? With all this digital stuff, that's probably gone out the window. I can remember when I had my first job, and we had this old cash register that had the push buttons. So you had to push in the value of whatever you were selling. So you had to push the button in and then go clunk with the side of your hand. Oh, it was so good because all my friends had those toy cash registers like that, and I never had one as a child, so I got to play with the real deal when I had my first job. And my first job was working at a cafe. It was called the Crepe Maison, and it was a crepe cafe, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. But my job, first thing I had to do every morning was take all the meat off 2 boiled chooks. And my boss, Pam, would go through the carcass after I finished, and she'd say, no, you haven't done that yet. There's more meat on that. And she'd make me, oops, hold it on there, Jeanette. She'd make me do it again, right? Because it was money. And all that chicken used to go into all the sandwiches. So, yeah. And by about the 4th month, I hated it. I hated doing the chickens. I loved the job, but didn't really like doing the chickens, right? The smell. You used to love those registers too, Veronica. Weren't they just the best? All right, in goes the chicken. So I'm just going to pour all the chicken on top of that. Right. So you can see there, we're starting to get a little bit of browning on the bottom. Now, someone asked me if I could do a slow-mo of how I scrape the bowl out. So I'll do that now. This was from last night's live. So what I do, I hold this flat part of my spatula, if I hold that there, hard up against that section there, right? So if I hold that hard up against there, often you can scrape this section on the blade, right? So that's how I do it. So hold it hard up against there, and that's what the flat side of the spatula is for. And then you can, do the other scrape. But always go clockwise because you don't want to cut the spatula. I'm just going to loosen that off. And that's actually going to go into the dish. Woohoo! Right. So, doing the chicken like this doesn't actually brown the pieces, but you end up with browning on the bottom of the bowl, and that's where the flavour comes from. Right, so there you've got all the chicken pieces, and that's sort of similar to how they do the chicken for Asian cooking, and it stays nice and moist and doesn't dry out. Where did the milk and yogurt go? I'm getting confused. Where did the milk and yogurt go? The milk and yogurt is just sitting here. I've taken it off the cradle because I want to do the bread. Then I'll pop it back on to finish denaturing the milk. Good question, Alison. Good question. All right. Let's set that aside. Now I'm going to put the carrots over the top of that now, all the rest of the carrots. And I'll throw the cauliflower on there. Right. And I'll bury this down a little bit so it gets covered by the sauce. Right. How's that looking? Can you see that? That's what I've done there. And then we'll put the rest of the capsicum on. There we go. So we scatter that around. And then we're just going to pour the sauce on top. So we're going to make the sauce in a second. So all the sauce ingredients are going to go in here. But to start with, I'm going to chop up some ginger. So I've got some ginger that I've had out of the freezer. And this has been frozen, right? So cut it into pieces like this. I don't even peel it. And then you can just put it straight into your Thermomix to chop it up. Even if it's frozen, it chops up really well. All right, we've now got the bread. So that's ready to come out, right? Well, let's chop up the ginger. So we take off the browning, go into manual mode, and we just whiz that up. I'm just going to do it on speed 8 because that'll work for me, right? And then we're going to put in all the other ingredients, and I'll tell you what they are, right? That's finished doing its job. Now, the ginger gives it a bit of zing. It's delicious, right? It adds to the... Oh, look at that. That's all fallen out. Adds to the... just adds to the flavour. It gives it a nice finish. And I do have white pepper in the recipe as well. And that also gives it a nice little bit of heat. Not chili heat, just peppery hot. Not too hot, though. And I like to use white pepper. We're going to flick off the blade. So we do a dry spin. You can use turbo on the TM7, or you can just use your manual speed on the 6. Now we'll pick off a bit of dough and run it around the outside of the bowl, because I don't want to... Getting that out with your spatula is a bit of a pain. You're best to get it out with a bit of dough. There we go. And then there's not much left to clean. Now if I take that blade out, I'll show you how dirty the blade is after doing a dry spin. It's not very dirty at all. See that? There's hardly any dough on that. So this is where you use your pre-clean to do the manual wash. So we throw some water in it now before it dries. And then you don't have to scrub it with a brush. Just makes your life a little bit easier. So do the small steps earlier in the cooking, and then you don't have to worry about doing longer steps later, right? So we put it on dough function. All right, that's that bit. Hello, Lindsay. Nice to see you joining. Good evening, Margaret. Good to see you as well. Yeah, it's on hold. Thanks, Donna. Alison was a bit confused. She's like, what did she do with the milk and the milk powder? Where's all that gone to? Oh, just putting some dishes away here. We'll just pop them in there. Done. Right, I'll deal with this bread dough in a second. I'll get this out. We're going to make this into a pull apart. Hang with me. Let's get the sauce on. So the sweet and sour sauce. Now this is in the recipe for the sweet and sour pork meatballs. So if you just want to make the sauce, that's what we're doing tonight. All right. Hello, San. Nice to see you joining. All right, we're going to use the same bowl that we had the chicken in. So there's the ginger all cut up. All right. And then we put in the reserved juice from the pineapple. And I'm just going to weigh... Where's my chicken stock? Okay. See how much liquid came out of the chicken. So the recipe calls for 110 grams of water. I'm going to use all of this and just put a bit of extra corn flour because I've got extra liquid. So let's put that in there. There's 220. So just put in an extra tablespoon, not a heaped one, of corn flour, and that'll make all the difference. And what we put in now, paprika. We've got paprika, we've got white pepper, we've got tomato paste, we've got chicken stock, and we've got a bit of soy sauce, soft brown sugar, and I think that's about it. So this is typically what my mum used to make when she used to do a sweet and sour, and it's just got a really good depth of flavour, and it works with any protein. But I don't know whether you'd put it with fish. I'm not a fish lover, so I can't comment on that. But for those out there, those of you out there that eat fish, would you do sweet and sour? I don't know. I'm not experienced with fish. I need just a spoony spoon. Where's a spoony spoon? Here we go. I've just got a bit of brown sugar in the bottom that I need to scrape out of the bowl. Hello there, Anna. Nice to see you joining. Liana. Yes, delicious. All right. We are going to scrape all that out. No, there's nothing for you, Rexy boy. Skidoo. Nothing for you tonight. Now the pineapple, I'm going to put that into the casserole dish as well. And with this, we can just go swipe and hit thicken mode, and that will thicken the sauce. So you can go swipe on the 6, or you can go to your modes and select thicken on your TN7. There we go. And I'm going to select the hotter temperature. Done. Away it goes. That has got the corn flour in it already. I'll check the thickness of it once it's finished thickening, and if it needs a little bit more, I'll just put a bit more in it and thicken it off then. Okay, pineapple goes on to this now. Thank you, Kathy. I'm not sure about the fish, thank you. I need help with that. Oh yes, these are great, Joe. Fisher Paykel dishwasher. I love it. I'd have another one tomorrow if anything ever happened to it. All right, pineapple's going on. That's just 1 tin of pineapple. You don't need 2 unless you really, really like pineapple. So you can see how much we've got there. It's quite a lot. And then we just pour all the sauce over the top once it's finished, and then we throw it into the oven. So essentially it's like a simmer sauce. Now you can make this sauce ahead of time and freeze it if you want to. You can keep it in a jar and it'll keep in the fridge for probably 2 weeks. So you can make it ahead of time, and all I do is freeze the pineapple in a Snap-Lock bag in the freezer. So then I've got it there ready to put in when I'm ready to make the entire recipe. Okay? Oh, sweet and sour over snapper is very nice, Mary. Awesome. Well, that's good to know. Thank you. Oh, this is so good. It's so easy to drink. All right, let's make a pull apart. Haven't done one for a while. That's why Amy goes, Mum, we haven't had Vegemite and cheese pull apart for a little while. I go, okay. Because she goes, what am I doing on my live tonight? I went, I have no clue. I haven't got that far yet. I was being dog groomer this morning, not thermo groover. All right, we're going to, I'm just going to take this off. I don't want that on there. I slid my finger across the edge of the knife earlier, and I thought, oh, I need to cover that up. All right, what we're going to do now, I'm doing these in two lots, right? Because it's just easier to manage. So I'm just going to, now it's not sticky, so I'm going to use the rolling pin just to make it a little bit quicker. So I can get a good surface on it to work with. You can sit, actually, you can go back in there and I'll get you back up to temperature. So that's dropped to 65. I'll put that over there. And you can sit on top of there. There we go, it's out of the way. All right. So just get a good surface here and go that way. Now, if it's a little bit sticky, use a bit of oil on it. Don't put flour on it. There we go. So I just want to be able to get a good amount of cheese and Vegemite on here. Now, I was supposed to use the cutter accessory tonight, and I've forgotten to grate the cheese before I made the sauce. But hey, I might just go and get my spare TM7 bowl. With my spare machine, I haven't actually got a spare bowl yet, so some of you are probably going to get a spare bowl before I do, which is highly likely. Okay, should I trade up from the 6 to the 7? That's a really good question. And who has asked that? Kathy. I think I probably need to have a talk to you, Kathy, in regards to what you will be trading up to. So let's talk about that. There's lots of options. And for me, I feel that the TM7 is a little bit more fluid than the TM6. And that's purely because they've enhanced it. So they've taken what we've had and then they've spun it on a dial and made it a little bit smoother to give us a different driving experience. That's exactly what they've done. And boy, oh boy, am I surprised. I mean, I'm just blown away with how they've done that. I didn't think there'd be a lot of difference. But there's not so much difference in what it can do. It's probably how it does it. That's what's different. So I am loving the open cooking. I'm loving the browning, just having it on the screen. I do love, there's a lot I love. There's a lot I love. Now that I've had it for a while, absolutely. So if you're wondering the same thing, Suzette, let's talk about it. Thank you, Lee. The Mix Incredible Straighting Spoon is $20.95. Referencing back to the spoon, right? Before I missed that little comment in the thread. Thanks, Lee. So we can talk about it, and then you can ask me questions, and I will give you my honest opinion. You know, I know that there's a lot of people that would love you to trade up, because that's going to be an extra sale for the consultant. Now, I just like to know whether you're happy with the machine you have for different reasons, and then work out if a TM7 is going to make you even happier. So that's my question. I'm trying to find this tool. Here it is in the sink. That's why I couldn't find it. This was a knife, and my husband got the grinder out and turned it into a spatula, and I love it. It's so, so good. All right, let's put some Vegemite on this. Can you see what I'm doing? Let me turn you down here. There we go. Now, keep in mind, with the TM7, we have 5 prongs on the base of the bowl, and on the machine itself, there's 6 holes. Now, we tried to find out what is coming that fits in that 6th hole, and we have 0 clue. But I would like to have an ice cream churn that fits onto the base of my TM7, because then I could make my yogurt ice cream. That would be delish. All right. Now, how I'm going to do this tonight is a little bit different. I'm going to use the scissors to cut it, but let me get a tray out first to put it on. All right. So, which ones have I got here? I'll use these ones. These ones will be long enough. So I'm going to do 2. All right. Now, the sauce is finished. You beauty. Has it finished? No, not quite. Oh, I reckon that's long enough. There we have it. There's the sauce. All done. It smells delicious. I don't need any more corn flour in that. It's thick enough. So I'll just set this here so you can see what I'm doing. Let me turn the camera this way a little bit so you can see what I'm doing to pour it on. I can't move my bread out of the way. So all I'm going to do is just pour that over the top. There we go. And then it sort of caramelizes a bit in the oven as well. Right. Oh, I wish you could smell this. Smells amazing. And the vinegar that I use is malt vinegar in this recipe, because that's what my nan used to use. Mum used to use that a lot. So I'll just scrape this out, and then I can put my cutter in here with no problems at all. Let me just spin that off with turbo. So I go back to my handy little tools on the screen and select turbo. Now sometimes you can't use turbo because the temperature in the bowl is too hot. So I just go back to manual screen and then I just select speed 8, right? And do that. That works a treat. Speed 8 if you can't use turbo because the bowl's too hot. So that's just going to scrape off, spin off the ingredients off the blade. And then I'll get my cutter out and I'll grate some cheese to go on these rolls. All right, now this can go into the oven. That looks really good. And that sauce will work its way down to the bottom. All right, there we go. Beautiful. So there you have it. See how it's spun around to the outside of the bowl? So don't forget to do that. And I'm not even going to wash that before I put my cutter in there because I'm lazy. Let me put it together. So in goes the shaft, right? In goes the hopper. Oh, wrong way around, Jeanette. There we go. So that's going to catch all of the cheese. And then make sure I've got the grating blade upwards. And then let me just get my cheese out of the fridge. I'll put this in the oven. All right, so that can go into the oven. Oh, I've got too many trays in there. Let me take one out. I was doing my crackers last night, which I'll show you before I finish tonight. All right, so how many of you are going to have a go at just making the sweet and sour sauce and putting it with a bachelor's handbag? What's it doing? Getting the cheese. Or cook off some chicken in your Thermomix. Now, if you've got a TM5, you can still cook off your chicken the same way. You just do it at 120 degrees. And those steps are in the book because the recipes are written for every Thermomix model, right? I know, an ice cream churner. Ooh! You just ordered it. I love it, Helen. Go you. Hello there, Trudy. Nice to see you joining. All right, I'm just going to go into my modes and I'm going to go into grating and I'm going to do this thin, right? So away we go. Oh, it says my mixing bowl is too hot. Well, let me sort that out with a bit of cold water. That's not going to stop this little black duck, all right? So just cool your bowl down with a bit of cold water and that will cool your temperature down. There we go. I'll put the shaft back in. Happy days. Now we're cooking with gas. Happy days. All right, now we can go play. So we'll put this in. And it's always important for your cheese to come straight out of the fridge. Don't leave it out for a little while so it softens. And I'm just going to stop this and I'll do the other one thick. There we go, so it goes in the opposite direction. Done. Super quick. So even if your bowl's dirty, you can just get into using the cutter super, super quick. Now you're not in love with it, Vicky. You need me to inspire you. Hang around, baby. I'm good for that. Now, what is it that you don't like? Because that helps me work out what your problem is. Now, some people complain about this. This, my friend, is your snack. Let me enlighten you to the snack. This is a reward for your hard work, right? And if you want to, you can just throw it into whatever you're making. So if it's bechamel sauce, it's not going to matter. And what you can do is collect your snacks and put them in a Snap-Lot bag. Happy days, right? Good morning, Sue. Nice to see you joining. All right, let's put some cheese on this and roll it up into a log. I'll show you that. There you go. We're done. So this is, can you see the fine texture there? And then you've got the thicker one. All right, let's put a bit of this on. I have to make this stretch between, who am I kidding? I'm never going to make it stretch. I'll just go and get some more cheese. Jim bought some that's already grated today. He bought some today that's already grated. Sorry, I said that wrong. And I went, no. I like to use my Bega. I think it's Bega that he's bought, but it's just pre-grated. Right, that's looking good. So let's just roll this up into a sausage. Right. Which way am I going to go? Well, this is the right length for the tray. How are we going there? I might go... I think I'll go this way. Can you see what I'm doing? Yes, you can. Hello, Maria. You don't like the thick bits of cheese left in the lid, but you've now inspired you to use them as snacks. Absolutely, it's about the snacks, right? Hello there, Glennis. Nice to see you joining. All right, let's get this rolled up. And then once I've got this rolled, I will let it prove, let it grow a little bit more, right? And then once it's proven, whack it in the oven. Now, these don't take very long to cook. They probably take around about maybe 20 minutes, 17 to 20 minutes. All right, so now we've got that done. I'm just going to push the ends like this. And I'm going to sit it on the tray. All right, so we've got it there in the centre. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut it with the scissors, but not all the way through. Right, so I'm just going to cut all the way through on the top and lift the scissors up so that I don't cut through the bottom. Right, you see what I'm doing there? And then we're going to separate them. I look a bit cack-handed, but hey, we've got it, right? Let me show you what it looks like. So we've got it looking like this. And then all we're going to do is pull one way and sort of turn it up. And then pull that one that way and turn it up. Right? And then that way. And I'll hold the tray up in a second so you can see what I'm doing. And these look really nice once they're cooked. They're going to prove a little bit, remember? There we go. Right. So what you've got is, there we go. See that? They look really nice when you put apple and currants in them with a bit of cinnamon sugar. So we set that aside and we'll let that prove. We'll roll out the next one now. How am I going for time? It's 7 o'clock. One more, peoples. One more. Hang with me. Now this has started to prove. Oh, goodness. It's definitely started to prove because the milk's got hot. All right, let's scoop that out. I think the milk's up to temperature. Yes, it's up to temperature now, so that's all good. Right, let's roll this out. There we go. Now, last night on my live, I actually steamed some of this bread and folded them into bao buns and then steamed them. They turned out beautifully. I think they'll turn out better if you let them prove. So if you want to have a go at doing that, and someone suggested doing the marinated maple chicken as the filling to go in them, well, hello, that's a great idea. Right, let's put that way. Now it started to get a little bit sticky because it was sitting on top of a warm lid. There we go. Get that even. Slap some more Vegemite on there. Happy days. What have I missed? How long? Yes, instead of the cheese and Vegemite, absolutely, Vicky. So you can put on some stewed apple. Don't puree it. You just want them stewed. You don't want them too wet. And then put on some currants, and you can put on some cinnamon sugar, or just drop some brown sugar on there. That's perfect as well. And that will make a delicious scroll. A bit messy because the apple can sometimes be a bit wet, but stick with it because it's worth it. Beautiful pull apart. All right, on with some more Vegemite. And if you're not a Vegemite lover, you can do Promite, or you can do Hellish Relish out of the cookbook Way More for Your Family. So the Hellish Relish recipe, woohoo, that's a winner. That will go beautiful in a savoury scroll. because of the flavours. Geez, I'm nearly at the end of this Vegemite. And that's where the Tovolo spatulas are really good, because they're great for scraping out. Where have I got that? It's here. Let me just wash this off. What's it? I don't know what's on the end of it. I often smell it, and if it's savoury, we're good to rock and roll. So this is where these spatulas are brilliant for getting all of the ingredients out. Look at that. So you can see inside there. Scrape it off there. But they're just fantastic. They get every little morsel out so that you don't waste anything in the jar. They're brilliant. There we go. Look at that. And then we recycle the jars, because the big Vegemite jars are brilliant for the hellish relish. The right size, or your jam. They're really good for that as well. All right, some cheese, please. Let's go with some cheese. Let's see if I've got enough. Not much left in there. Let's see. Oh, yeah, this is plenty. So this is, that's the finer texture. So you can see that there. I really like the fine grate. It's nice with carrot as well, and great with beetroot. So you can do a beetroot relish. It's brilliant for that. Or are they ever Vera? I absolutely love them. All right, let's roll this one up so we get him started. And away we go. I like to roll it towards me. Just a little tip, roll it towards you. It's a little bit easier than rolling it away from you. And we'll do the same again. So I'll put a heat pack underneath these to encourage the proving. And I usually like to put the seam down on the tray. Oh, hang on. I need to squish it so it fits. Right. Got to do that just so it fits on there. Ooh, just. Right, and we're going to do the same thing with the scissors. Right. What have I missed? See you later, Maria. You're watching on replay. You're baking scones for a scone nation for CWA. Go you, Judy. I've heard you're a little bit of a weapon when it comes to cooking and getting amongst the community. Go you. All right, let's just cut through these with the scissors. Nice and quick. Just be careful of your mat underneath. And then we just ta-da, same thing again, right? So you can see there how far I've gone through. And then we're just going to pull them apart and twist them, right? There we go. Now next week, when I have my hip surgery, I'm going to see how I go, but I still want to be able to do some of my social media, and I still want to be available to help people with their Thermomix questions, even questions about the TM7, given we've got the new offer. So I will be looking forward to chatting to people on the phone, because it gets very lonely sitting in the chair. I don't do that very well. I've had to learn how to sit still so I can just, have some downtime. I don't do that very well. I've had to learn how to do it. There we go. Now, if you want to take a screenshot of that, do it now whilst it's on the screen, or you can go back in the replay and take a screenshot of it later. We're going to prove them like that and then pop them in the oven. They'll take around about 17 minutes, 20 minutes to cook. Not very long at all, okay? Let's put the milk back on. Oh no, I did that. So now we're going to let it cool. Now, how do I let it cool? I take it out of the cradle and I take the lid off, and the little cloth that Jan made for me to put over the top of my milk mixture, and I sit it outside in the cool air. Now, if there's a bit of a breeze blowing, that's all you need, right? So sit it outside where it's cooler, and that'll cool down a lot quicker. Put your timer on your Thermomix to remind you to check it so you don't go to bed and leave it outside, because that's what can happen, right? Now, Diane, you just prepared meals for your son and his partner, who made you a nana on Monday. Congratulations. And thank God you bought a second Thermomix, Diane. I love that. Congratulations on being a nan. Thank you, Anna. I really appreciate your kind wishes. Hello, Nicole. I'm nearly finished, so you're going to have to watch the replay. You'll like the cocktail. And I'm sure I'm going to have a speedy recovery with my hip. So before I go, I'm going to charge my glass with all of you and finish off this delicious cocktail that I've made. Ooh, there's a little bit too much orange in there. Let me take some out. There we go, because I want to get another glass of this because it's so good. I'll put in some of my Moscato. So cheers to all of you with your Thermomixes, and no matter what model you have, I hope you're all enjoying cooking from a recipe book. And if you don't have a copy of my books, head to thermogroovers.com.au and you can download a copy of my cookbooks. And if your friends have Thermomixes and they don't have the books yet, get them onto the website so they can actually purchase their own cookbooks. And then you can print off a copy if you want to have a hard copy as well. So thank you so much, Dee. And thank you very much, Nicole and Debbie. Thank you. All right, cheers, everybody. That's me for tonight. I've got through everything and it's 7:10. Thanks for joining me. And I hope you enjoy a little twist on the sweet and sour pork meatball recipe, just doing it with your chicken. So let me know what your thoughts are. I'm going to do some noodles to have this with rather than have rice tonight. So I'm just going to put my Thermomix on kettle mode, heat the water, and I'm going to drop the noodles in there, let them swell, pour them in my simmering basket, and then they're done. So I don't get another bowl out of the cupboard. I use the Thermomix bowl, the Thermomix jug as a bowl, okay? Thank you, everybody, for your lovely wishes. All right, and keep in mind the extra bowl offer with the TM7 and having a demonstration in the month of April if you want to get yourself a second TM7 bowl. Hit up your consultant if you already have a consultant. If you don't have a consultant, let me know, okay? You are so well and you're watching. Thank you. All right, we'll catch you all later. Bye.